Whether you're having a not moving off the couch while you watch the game kind of day, or a no time between conference calls kind of day, it can still be a delicious Dunkin' kind of day. And with Dunkin' now available on DoorDash, it's easier than ever to get your faves brought right to your door. So if you're looking for coffees, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, craving some afternoon snack and bacon, or in need of Dunkin' refreshers for a PM pick-me-up, we've got you covered. Order now and get your faves brought to your door through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'.
Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Grammarly Premium. Get your 1 month free trial. Links in the description down below. I am using Grammarly Premium and I find it is very fantastic. It helps with any effective documentation or any reports that I've got to use. So get your 1 month free trial of Grammarly Premium. Also, you can get 3 months free trial of Amazon Music Unlimited. All you need to do is click on the link to my website to find out more for today's episode. Welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show today. I've got Punit back on the show. Happy New Year, Punit.
Happy New Year, Stephen.
And what are your plans for 2021?
We've got some big projects out in the pipeline, as we talked about last time. You know, we're going to be launching the drag and drop interface for sort of all-in-one stop shop for mobile applications, websites, web apps coming out pretty soon. So, you know, anyone interested should be a lookout for that.
Mm-hmm. No, that sounds very exciting. And what's the how much work have you been putting into this new project with iBack?
Oh, tons and tons, man. That's been the main focus lately. So we've had a few articles that we're actually going to launch, and so we had actually got a timer on there, and then we've been putting on so much focus onto this new project that we kind of ran out on that, and we're still going, nah, you know what, let's finish this, because this is going to be the one that's going to bring the most value to customers and users and anyone just thinking about starting a website. So we've just been putting it there. And yeah, we hope to launch it maybe end of Jan, end of Feb, something like that.
Ah, that sounds very exciting. How many hours a day are you working on this project?
Well, about 8 hours a day, and I mean 8 hours a day I say, but because it is my company and it is, you know, something that I'm enthusiastic about, so I do end up putting in something like 12 to 14 hours frequently.
How do you schedule your 12 to 14 hour day and make it actual productive work instead of lousy work?
Well, I think the key for me is, you know, what I'm working on. If I'm enthusiastic about it, if I like it, you know, if I'm passionate about it, I don't get tired. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if I'm working on something that I'm less happy with, I tend to cut my hours back down to 6 hours only, because I know that I shouldn't be putting in even a single minute if I'm not going to be productive for it. Because otherwise, that's a minute wasted that I'm never getting back. And, you know, no work has been done, or no good work has been done.
See, there are things that I hate doing at Shiels Productions, and that's marketing. And then I only schedule 1 hour a week for free advertising. Cause
isn't that better, though?
Yeah.
Like, I've observed that when you make it short, you're at least able to tell your brain, yeah, deal with it, you got to focus just for an hour.
Yep.
You know, we're in the go zone for just 1 hour.
That's it.
Makes it easier.
You know, and I schedule that, say, 1 day a week on my calendar, Microsoft calendar, you know. Because I've learnt as an entrepreneur, you got to schedule your week. You can't cram everything into 1 day, and I've made that mistake myself, and if I do that, get frustrated, get tired, cranky as well, you know. Because I hate marketing.
help.
To me, it's a nightmare. But 1 hour a week is enough to do that.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you there. No, I've actually forgetting his name now, but the founder of LinkedIn. Excuse me, I think there's something in my throat. Right, the founder of LinkedIn. I forget his name right now, which is kind of bad. But he actually said that, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a startup, when you're in this headspace of taking your business somewhere, taking your idea and making it real. He said that you're wearing multiple hats, and that's a given. Even though you hire outside help, you're never really taking off the hat until you hire someone full time. And even then you still need to know what's going on in your own company. And according to him, he's basically saying, when he started LinkedIn, and he was communicating with startups and other people, he realized that when you stop worrying about too many things at the same time, you don't actually make up any progress. But he's like, when you're doing one thing, even if you don't like it, just do that one thing. Reduce your time on it, or find a way to reward yourself for it, but just do that one thing. Instead of having to, jump around in multiple spaces. And that's going to, get that thing done. Which I think is pretty good. I was reading up about him the other day, and I was like, oh, that's pretty impressive. And pretty good advice, in my opinion.
Who was the founder of LinkedIn?
I forget his name, that's what I said. I think Jeff something, John something. I really forget his name.
I can Google that right now for us. Founder of LinkedIn. Now, for the audience out there, Punit, what's LinkedIn mainly used for?
LinkedIn is a very, very useful tool for professional connections. Actually, funny you should bring that up, because I've been meaning to sort of do a little, a webinar or something to sort of show users that, especially startups, that LinkedIn is not a second Facebook. And I think a lot of people tend to get confused, especially if you're new to LinkedIn. It is a social networking site for businesses. So yes, there's a social network aspect to it, but it's not supposed to be for your cat photos. And you'd be surprised how many newcomers to LinkedIn you'll see. They'll be posting things like, I had such a great day at work today, or feeling blessed and this and that. And you'll see that the people who are very geared towards networking and really excelling their business, they tend to stay away from making connections with those people.
Yeah, one of the mistakes I made in my early days of LinkedIn, I thought I'd post something positive, going to the movies after doing volunteer work, but you tend to learn these stuff. Turns out what Google says is Reid Hoffman, Konstantin Gurick, Alan Blue, Jean-Luc Vaillant are the founders of LinkedIn.
Yeah. But I think the quote I'm quoting is from Reid Hoffman.
Yeah. No, I don't use LinkedIn much because I feel for my company I'm focusing more on Facebook and Instagram as a musician, but I sort of use Twitter every now and again. Have you used Twitter before?
I actually haven't. Despite being in the sort of IT industry, I am a wallflower when it comes to when it comes to sort of social media. I guess perhaps I was a little bit paranoid from the get-go. With all this being in IT, and you read about how this data collection and stuff works, and so I guess I was always a bit sort of skeptical about going there and putting out my thoughts and my photos and this and that. And then I realized as I went more into the business area and more into marketing, especially, that these tools are not optional. These are not like, oh yeah, it's good to have. It's a necessity at this stage. Because without them, you kind of find yourself as an entrepreneur, lacking some tools. Like even politicians are having Twitter accounts everywhere. ScoMo has one. Trump has one, Biden has one, everybody has one. And it's a very good medium to sort of reach out to people and, get your thoughts out right, instead of it being muddled by media or miscommunicated in translation or something. It's better to just directly from your own head into the the platform. It's a really good sort of provider of that type of conversation with your customers. But I tell you what, though, Stephen, I do use LinkedIn, and it's also very, very useful. But it's useful in sort of like a different direction, like when you're communicating. So I've actually had a few connections through LinkedIn where startups have come to me discussing their problems. Sometimes they just want to talk about it. They don't really want to, because it's possible they don't have the capital to invest. They don't have, they're indecisive, or they're in the very early stages where they're not sure. And sometimes I have an effort to tell them, going, guys, we really need you to figure this out. Don't start spending money immediately on tools. First figure out your foundation. But it's not like always, you're going to run into your customers there, but you're going to talk to a lot of interesting people who are going to give you a lot of interesting ideas about your business as well. And it really builds a community. And, I've actually had a connection who just because we had a nice chat and, had that sort of connection and that relationship, he basically sends me customers that he gets because he does financial advice.
I suppose I don't use LinkedIn anymore. It really hasn't worked out for me in my industry. I'm concentrating on Facebook and Instagram. Sometimes I'm on the Twitter as well. But I wanted to mention Twitter has like a word count as well. You can only use so many characters on Twitter and so many hashtags at one time. But I'm finding Twitter's more American-based.
Like I said, I'm not one. I have a Twitter account now, but I'm not one that sort of tweets all the time. In fact, I don't think I've ever tweeted once. And so I'm still very new to the whole social media. I had a Facebook, and then that was pretty much it for me. And then recently, I started an Instagram account because I needed to do that for iBack, for marketing. Instagram, what else? Twitter, Facebook pages, LinkedIn. Oh, LinkedIn has pages too. I think they're quite useful as well. And they give you lots of interesting data. And I think something else I have, obviously my marketing person is the one sort of looking after that stuff at this moment. But, so I kind of got that. But I don't know. I mean, I can't speak much about Twitter, but I do know that I've got some people, I've got some friends around the world. So I know Twitter is very, very popular in India. I know it's quite popular, I think, in England and European countries. Obviously, it's extremely popular in America. I don't know much about Australia because some of my Aussie mates, I know they don't have Twitter and they don't see the need to get it.
Yeah.
So, maybe you're right. I guess maybe it isn't as popular. But again, I wouldn't be the best person to comment on its popularity since I don't use it myself too much.
No, look, I've found with Twitter, I like it. I follow some famous people on my personal one, and I've got a Shiels Productions Twitter page as well. So occasionally I tweet about any of my work that I've published. I'm finding, Instagram's good because I can constantly update my story all the time as well.
Yeah.
And keep people on board and always, updating the highlight reel. I'm even doing a live stream, just me of writing music for my next album, and it's a series that'll go on my IGTV, so it's showing people behind the scenes on what I'm doing. What has been your experience with Instagram?
My experience with Instagram has been little, like I said, but I have used it, and I think it's quite useful. And here's a bit of sort of free marketing advice to your audience. What I learned from my marketing expert. So what they told me is that Instagram is extremely useful when you want to sort of... It's more about show, don't tell.
Yeah.
You know, the whole a picture is worth 1,000 words kind of thing. Or whereas Facebook, you can sort of show and tell.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, lately we've invested quite a lot of money into getting like graphics designers to design custom graphics for us for iMac information. You know, so for us, what we're doing is we're sort of showing people the benefits of various programming languages. You know, at what stage they should be considering getting software solutions. You know, basically giving value to customers who really obviously are just starting out or are in a confused state. Like they've hit maybe some success and now, you know, the growth has sort of stopped or come to a halt and it's, you know, stagnant. And it's at that point, you know, when you start really needing to get to, you know, look into other avenues to progress your growth. So it's really aimed towards them. And it gives them some really good, valuable advice, which you know, not necessarily that, hey, come to us, but whatever you do, this is the stuff you need to be looking out for, kind of thing. So yeah, it's very, very, and it's the infographics are designed to be easy and straightforward, so that common people can understand. You know, it's not aimed towards IT people, and I think it's a really good medium for that. You know, ability to convey messages in very easy to interpret and understand images, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram too. I remember you could do a live stream on Instagram, but then you'd share it to your story for 24 hours, but now you can actually share it to your IGTV, so it's up there forever. It's pretty cool that they've done that as well. But I think with Instagram, you can't use like live streaming software because I use StreamYard to do my Facebook live streams. Instagram hasn't set up a platform where you can live stream to that as well. So if I'm going to live stream to Instagram, I have to use my iPhone. You know, you got other platforms like Twitch as well. That's more for streaming video games, and you occasionally get podcasters. Do you do live streaming at iBack?
No, actually, not yet, but we are sort of talking about it, and we are thinking of putting, not necessarily live streams per se, but, you know, long sort of explanatory videos about certain topics onto YouTube.
Yeah.
And we might eventually do live stream, but what I personally, my philosophy, what sort of works for me is things like a webinar.
Yes.
It can be open so that as many people can join, which I think is fantastic, because then what you end up with is a whole bunch of people actively participating in a conversation. And I know obviously you can have comments and stuff in a live feed, but it's I believe it might be a little bit more difficult. But again, that could just be my inexperience with Facebook Live or Instagram Live, streaming the videos and stuff. But so it's definitely a very useful tool. There's no denying that. It enables you to connect directly with your customers. So yeah, we might consider that in the future. But yeah, no, it's definitely very useful, and I'm pretty sure it's useful for people like you, because I see that your model is more about directly connecting to customers as quick and as efficiently as possible. So yeah, I think for you it's a very, very useful tool.
Yeah, I'm starting to live stream on my Facebook page for the Stephen Shiels radio show two nights a week, and getting people to send me some questions as well, and wanting to have a conversation with them on the show. The hardest part, I think, in the beginning is when you don't have the followers. It's very hard to push the stream out there and keep a conversation going for 1 hour when you're doing it by yourself. I've found for my live streaming, I have to prepare it, just get a pen and paper and just dot point what I'm going to talk about, Yeah. But I suppose as time goes on and get better, it'll just flow more easy. I think that's the same thing too. If you're going to do webinars, Punit, you
absolutely
prepare it in advance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is the main thing. I think that's, I guess, one of the reasons why I prefer webinars is you get like a lot of time to sort of advertise about it, and then if you don't get as much customers or participants in it, you can end it sooner. You can go, all right, guys, thank you for joining us. I'm glad we've answered all your questions. And if no one has any more questions, you finish up your notes and stuff, and then you can end it sooner. Yeah. And I've seen really professional, really, really well-followed people during COVID times because they may not get as many people as they had hoped. Because there was so many webinars going on at the same time. And these people are really, really professionals. And even then, sometimes, you'll find them that they've got only 10 people viewing them. So once the questions are exhausted, even though it's a 3-hour webinar, the questions are exhausted by, say, 1 hour.
Yeah.
So end it, at 1 hour and a half.
Yeah, because I've found webinars that it's a lot of information at one time, and I find if I'm going to watch a webinar, I just say 1 or 2 webinars a week because it's a lot to take in at once.
Absolutely.
I prefer
the ones that give you the recordings.
Yeah, I don't like doing online courses because I just tune out. I need to do listen to it audio, and while I'm at the gym, I can put it on, and I find I retain it better. But I wanted to... I
definitely like to revisit the material, too, so
yeah.
I really, really prefer it when they go, here's exactly what you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, with scripts, now, I don't use a script because it's just too time-consuming to write it out, and I find it just gets a bit dull. Do you use a script if you're going to do a webinar, or are you just going to talk?
I'm really not a script man.
Yep.
But I am a notes man. I will have notes for myself, going, I'll talk about this topic, then I'll talk about this topic. But I don't think there's anything wrong with scripts in general, because you are right. If you are sort of a very script-oriented person, if I was a script-oriented person, obviously I'm not, so my opinion could be a bit wrong. But I've observed that script-oriented people could get, sometimes, find themselves in a position of, if something goes wrong, you kind of get flummoxed. You're trying to get back to the script and carry on from where they were.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not a script-oriented person, I guess that's less of a problem since you're sort of, going off the top of your head and just sort of loosely following the points.
Yeah, because what I learned when I was in university, lecturers, they don't use scripts. They're talking from the top of their head as well. Yeah. But when you watch a TV show like, say, Channel 10 News, do you think that's all scripted? Like they're actually reading a script?
Well, yeah, I do, because they do have the prompters.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily saying, every single thing that the host talks about is scripted. It could, I'm sure that he can remark here and there, but I do believe it's scripted. But I tell you something funny. There's something positive about a script. I'll tell you a little funny story. So one time we were, I was working on an app for a customer, and I had to then do a recording where I demonstrate how the app works. So iPhone has a screen record option, and to start the app, and I'm showing how it works and what it does, and it's all going well. And then what happens is, I realize I find myself that I've finished the whole demonstration in 15 seconds since it wasn't a very complicated app, and I was a developer who knew exactly what everything did. So I found myself finishing it in 10, 15, 20 seconds. And it became really, really hard for me to drag it out. So I would explain every single core feature. And so then I had to I really had to sit down and write a script for myself, and I even actually on the piece of paper actually wrote down how much pauses I should take at what point, just to fill in the gaps, because I thought anything less than say 5 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes, it's not enough. It's not going to be able to help the customers understand what all the features we provide. So
yeah, no, I think you're right.
In those situations, it's pretty intense.
Like, if you watch Dr. Phil on TV, I don't think he'd be using a script. I mean, he's...
No, I don't know. I mean, I know that they have writers.
Yeah. But
I think it's mostly about, like, okay, talk about... I think it's... Because that's different. I think that's like daytime show kind of thing. Wherein, if you watch someone like Stephen Colbert or... Trevor Noah, they're very, what do you call it, the spontaneous people. And so, as a result, they know, and they've been in front of television, they were stand-up comedian, like they've got, comedian careers to fall back on. So they're not, they're not going to get the shock of public speaking. And if you're okay with that, I'm a little bit like that, where I've never been sort of scared of public speaking. I've always wondered what's the big deal. And so as a result, it's, I can find myself in most situations, and I might fumble, I might make a mistake, but I'm able to recover and just carry on. Wherein in the news, I guess, it becomes a little bit more challenging. So, yeah, I don't think Dr. Phil, because they've been on television for years now. Maybe, I guess, when they started and it was like the first big thing, they might have been nervous. But I guess at this point, after so many years, so much experience, it'd be like, taking a walk in the park.
Yeah, it would have been like that for the Oprah Winfrey show as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then you got another show called The Doctors. That was another American doctor show after Dr. Phil. I don't think they use scripts. They're too clever for that.
Right? Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, think about it like this. If I asked you music-related questions, you don't need a script to answer them. Like, we're having a conversation right now. If you ask me anything about IT or whatever, and that, especially that I'm working with, I don't need a script to answer your question. I have the knowledge to, be able to communicate that. And it's the same thing I would say with people just talking about their own fields. So as long as you have the knowledge in the area, I don't think you need a script that much.
No, because I've tried a script for some of my YouTube videos, and it was just time-consuming, Punit. Too much work.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if my marketing person heard you say that, I swear to God, their skin would literally crawl. They'd be like, out for your blood. They're big scriptwriter fans. They're like, oh yeah, we need to write scripts when it comes to YouTube videos. Yeah.
No, that's fine. No, because there are YouTubers out there that will use scripts, but that's just me. It's too much.
No, of course. I mean, to each their own.
Yeah.
I do understand what you're saying.
I
totally agree, because I'm one of those guys that probably couldn't follow a script, because I'm pretty sure if you gave me a script and I made a mistake, I would then be fumbling to go back to where I was.
A lot of actors use scripts as well, but then they've got to memorize their lines too.
Yeah. Actually, that's really funny, because there's an Indian show. It was really popular, very, very witty, very cut and dry humor. So it was quite sophisticated for its time. And I grew up sort of watching that. And then they were sort of coming back. They were doing like a, we're coming back tour. And one of the sort of very sharp person who actually wrote the show and directed it, he's not a very sort of, fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. And we were watching an interview. And the host and then the star of the show was basically saying, oh, welcome, come in and, talk about your successes and stuff. And he's just like, oh, don't ask me questions off the script because, I'm not going to be able to answer them. And, you can see that this person was an introvert, but you don't really see that when he's on the screen. He's super sort of charming, and he's got his eccentricities around him. And you'd think that, this person must be absolutely, outgoing and to be able to perform like that. But then when you actually see him without a script, you realize that he's just a very normal person, and maybe a little bit of an introvert. So it's surprising to see that, isn't it? You'd think that, that this person is, very, very. You're looking at people on YouTube and you think, they must be really, really extroverted to be able to make these videos and, talk about all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth might just be very, very different.
No, exactly. It's, I mean, each to their own, Punit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wanted to say, technology's come so far, and we have the 5G network now on the new iPhones. Now, I've been hearing that 5G is no good for your health. Now, you're in IT. What's your opinion on 5G?
Oh, my God. Where do I start? No, see, I've heard the rumors too. But I haven't myself looked into too much of the 5G technology or anything like that. And look, waves, I'm not going to definitely say, there's totally no credit to any of it. But it's like saying, when you use wireless headphones, the waves that come into your head are not really good for you. And that's true. But does that mean you stop using mobile phones altogether? It's like everything in proportion. It's like it's not as bad for you. It's like, and we're still working on technologies to improve that so that it's not as bad for you. Or maybe in the future we'll come up with technology where it's not bad for you at all.
So where's this?
It's come a long way, but 5G it's not like it's not going to be the end of the world. And I've seen that. I've seen people panic about that. I saw a video where someone was saying, as soon as you turn the switch on, I'm going to just pass out. And no, I promise you're not going to pass out. And if you do, well, so will everybody else. So, you can't really come and strangle me. So, but, no, it's not bad for you. I don't know where these rumors get so much attention. But, no, 5G is actually a really useful technology if you just look at it from a technological point of view. Now, like I said, I haven't looked too much into it, but from what I read in an article, what you could also do...
Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
5G potentially is, if we were in range, I could call you and I would never need to go through like a mobile tower. My phone would directly call your phone. They're kind of like a walkie-talkie system.
So that's what they try to do, like a satellite system.
No, not like a satellite. Think of it like a big web.
Yep.
And if you are too far away, you have to go to like another point, which is like a mobile cell tower or something.
Yeah.
But if you're in range, it just skips that step, making internet transfer and everything very much faster.
Because I'm on, I've got the new iPhone SE that came out, and I love the SE. I've got 128 gigabytes of memory, and I'm on 4G network, and that works fine. I'm very happy. The 5G, is there a difference, or is it just faster internet?
It is faster, and like I said, there are some technological advances to it. I haven't much looked into it, but as far as the speed is concerned, we always need more speed. Because if you really think about it, like you were saying, technology has made a lot of progress over the years, and because of it, if you remember, like the first computer, or not the first, but the very massive computer made by IBM back in the day, was like the size of your car or bigger. And I think it had a huge memory, according to them, of like 500 kilobytes. You know, and today, you know, that wouldn't even be a Word document. A Word document could be more, possibly. So, you know, you have to realize that as technology gets more sophisticated, as, you know, phone applications, videos, you know, Instagram, Facebook, live streaming, all of that gets more complicated and better in quality and stuff. You're going to need better transfer rates. Otherwise, you're going to, do you remember the early days of the internet and someone trying to call you on Skype or other video chat software, and there was so much buffering? Like, you would hear their sound first and then see the lips move, or the other way around, or the screen would freeze, you know?
Still does that today, Skype.
Yeah, but that's more on your internet, I would say, than anything else. But, no, exactly. So we want to tackle those problems, don't we? It's like, you're right. I mean, technically, technology could have ended with post office. You know, we could have just gone, I get my mail in like 3 days. I'm totally okay with it. And hey, it worked for so many years.
Yeah,
we obviously want to get better at it.
I'm still old-fashioned. I like my bills in the mail, please, and go to the post office. You know, I don't like...
I'm the same, yeah.
You know, I don't like direct debiting things. Nah, see, now we've got Skype, Zoom, Google Hangouts, but I'm finding out of the three, Zoom is better for some reason than Skype.
Zoom is definitely more professional if you're using the professional. Like, if you're using Zoom free version and Skype free version, Zoom is the professional medium. And I think you're right. I have observed that Zoom is better, especially if you're sort of doing presentations and stuff. I know there's Microsoft Teams, and apparently that's also very good. I haven't used it myself. Google Hangouts I used a while back, a few years ago, so I don't know what's new there. But I think Skype is more for like, hey, hang out with your mates, chat with them, so on and so forth, what have you. It's supposed to be this free medium for chatting with your friends and not much more.
Yeah.
I know you can like do screen sharing and other stuff, but it's the free version of Skype isn't made for that, wherein Zoom is. But then it comes with limitations. You know, it's like you can't talk to more than one person for over 40 minutes. And, you know, you can record your meetings and a whole bunch of other stuff. It gives you out of the box, which is fantastic. So I guess because it is for commercial use, it is going to be better.
My experience with Skype, I tried to record a podcast, right, for an episode last week. I couldn't even download the audio from the video from Skype. Now, if I was to record a podcast on Zoom, it gives me the video and the audio.
Absolutely. And like I said, that's the whole commercial. But I think if you get, like, again, I'm not sure, I haven't used Skype for Business, but if you were to use that, I'd probably say that you'd get good response.
You should.
With that too, but, I mean, I don't know, I haven't used it.
You know.
But that one's, you know, for the whole business mind, you know, business oriented, it's for the business environment. So you might be able to get more features out of that one.
What's the difference with Zoom? Because there's a free version and a paid version.
So in software, what we say is, okay, so I'll put it in, instead of going to software, I'll put it into your perspective. So, you know how you have some music that you have just out there on Spotify?
Yeah.
That technically anyone could download. Or you have some on YouTube that anyone could download or at least view, right, as many times as they needed to.
Yeah.
And see how that one is there to let people know of the capabilities that you have. You know, your skills. So if they then want to, you know, get you to compose a certain amount of music or learn from you or do something else with, you know, using your skills, that is like your advertisement banner, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the same thing that we use in software, and we've been doing that for years. You know, that's why we have the free trial version or trial version with a certain time limit. And trial version of restriction. It's kind of the same thing, that here's the software, here's a little preview of all the things you'll be able to do, and there is more if you pay for it. So that's pretty much the whole model of the free version of Zoom.
Yeah, with Zoom on the free version, can you live stream to Facebook?
I don't know. I don't think so. I've never tried. So I don't know about that, actually.
See,
I'm not sure if Zoom is for live streaming, though.
I don't know. With live streaming, I tried to live stream, to Facebook and Instagram on my personal hotspot at the same time, but the stream was shit. Could you tell me why it was crap, the stream?
Well, there's a few reasons. One could be the software.
Yeah.
But another could be your bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth.
How many people on your network, what's going on. Also depends on what time of day you're doing it, because internet... So let's say if you're working around the time of something like, 9 o'clock in the morning, and the area that you're living in, depending on the area, you could find yourself in a position where it's like so many people are on the internet that it's just hogging up the bandwidth, and so whatever's coming through to you is just going to be slower.
Yeah.
So even YouTube videos, are going to be of lesser quality. They're not going to be HD. And that's the same thing that you'd find with streaming, because it all depends on what you're doing. How many users you have in the home? How many of them are using the same modem? There's a few things. It's not always a simple answer of it's the software or it's the modem, or if it's your internet provider. It could be anything. So if you look at an NBN pack, they'll tell you, we give you typical evening speeds of this.
That's bullshit.
And yeah, that's what they tell you, typical. So if you're living in an atypical place, you're going to find yourself with worse off speeds, because that's what they don't tell you.
We had a thunderstorm about this week, and we're on the NBN with Telstra. But because of that, we're on the backup modem, because they give you 2 modems of it, and we're still waiting to get on the the full broadband one. The weather's cleared up, so that's probably why the internet's better. But I found even on my Vodafone cellular data, it was slow. Now, when there's a storm, why does the internet slow down?
Oh, that's because of interference. So probably an engineering person is better to answer that. But simply put, the way that works is there's a few ways that the signals from your phone basically go through walls and stuff.
Yep.
And it's typically not usually going through objects, but rather around them. So it sort of just bounces off walls until it finds, an opening, and it just goes through there. So that's why if you enter, a very closed... that's why if you go into shopping malls, and you go deep into shopping malls, you'll find that your bars sort of get lower.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And that's the same reason, because the signals from your phone, they just keep bouncing around indefinitely until they lose power.
But why is it if I go to Sydney and I'm in the middle of Circular Quay, the internet's fast, and I've got 4 bars?
It's open. But that's the thing, because it's an open space, and the network, the signals can go to the tower and back pretty quickly.
But see, if I'm in a train and it's peak hour, I find it slows down on my cellular data network.
Yeah, because, other signals also interfere with your signals.
Yeah.
And what we call that is noise. And so, in fact, you could actually try it. You get, a frequency generator that just pulses out different frequency signals. And you put that near your phone, that's going to scramble your phone signal. It's not going to damage your phone. Don't put it too close. But it's still going to jam the signals. So if you're familiar, when you're doing the driver's knowledge test in NSW, one of the questions is it okay to have a jammer in your car, even if it's not on? The answer is, no, it's never okay.
What's a jammer?
a jammer, what it basically does, it just sends out signals.
Yeah.
In multiple frequencies at the same time, in too many of them.
Yeah.
And so when a policeman is there with his speed gun, that basically works on signals too, right? It hits your car and it bounces back, and I'm not really sure how it works, but I guess the time difference or something will tell them how quick your car was going.
Yeah.
And what that thing does is it interferes with the signals coming and going.
Yeah.
And so they can't really predict your speed accurately.
Are they illegal to have?
They're definitely illegal, yeah. But, I mean, for that purpose. I mean, jammers are useful in certain areas, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so if you get one of those things, or if you just get, something that just pulses different frequency signals, you'll find that it's messing with your telephone signal, too.
Mm.
It's just because of the way the hardware and waves sort of work.
Mm.
But like I said, a hardware person, an engineer, would be a really good person to explain this. But that's basically the gist of it, how it basically works.
Wow. Now, also, too, there's technology out there that you can listen to where the media on radio, satellite radios, they can listen to where the police are. Do they work on the same sort of frequencies as well?
They would, yeah. So everything sort of works. Anything that's wireless works on signals, and then it works on a specific frequency. And so, yeah, technically, if you had a frequency modulator or whatever, you could, in theory, tap into that signal.
Mm.
But now it could be encrypted, and that's a whole another can of worms. But yeah, you could, in theory, if it's an unencrypted communication thing, you could, in theory, basically listen in on radio waves.
Is that illegal?
Not necessarily. If it's unencrypted, then it's public.
Now, if the police were going to listen into your phone calls, because they do this, but they'll never tell you this, what technology do they use?
Oh, that is a very interesting question, isn't it?
Mm.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they do it. I don't know if it's as bad as movies and stuff make it out to be. But in theory, yes, it is possible because, you want to be sure that there's no, terrorist activities or anything going on.
Yep.
If they suspect you, they might tap into it.
Yep.
What they'd probably do is just get the cell towers to, they'd have access to cell towers and they'd just get data from there.
Mm.
And since, we all the companies operating within a nation has to answer to a nation, they could then get the encryption key to be able to understand what's going on and what people are talking about. But I know in Australia there's, I'm not sure if that's still a law, but someone credible told me once that there's a law that if you build a chat app, Australian government needs to have access to it in order to monitor the chats going through to make sure that there is no sort of illegal activities or more importantly, nothing to do with national security.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not really didn't follow up on it, so I'm not sure if it's still a thing or if it was. But it's interesting. But again, that doesn't apply to international company apps.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was watching a show called El Chapo. Have you heard of El Chapo?
I think I have, but I'm not really sure what it is about.
I was watching it on Netflix, and there was this scene where it was the SAS were listening into his phone calls and tracking him. Can the Australian Federal Police actually do that? Track you?
Yeah, actually, funny you should mention that. So a while back, we actually when I was not an IBAC project, but just working for this company, and we were experimenting with NSW police.
Yeah.
Working on. So what we were planning on doing was, in clubs and nightclubs and other places where there's high drug activities, setting up Wi-Fi points and giving free Wi-Fi access to people, and then when people connect to that with triangulation, so having two Wi-Fi spots connect to the phone, we can know exactly where where the devices are.
Yeah.
And then just basically tracking known people who basically known drug dealers and tracking their activities. We can see a pattern in the way they sort of communicate and find their customers, and then feeding that data to like an algorithm, like an AI, that would then enable us to that would then predict and enable us to find other drug dealers that we don't know about.
That's so cool.
To actually crack down on drug use and stuff in clubs and other places.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But what's a satellite phone? Because I know the police and the authorities, they use a satellite phone. Now, what's the difference between a satellite phone and a normal phone?
Well, satellite phones are usually bulky. That's the big one.
What's that?
But the satellite phones, in theory, what they do is they connect directly to the satellites.
Yeah.
So they don't connect to cell towers. So even if you don't have, and I think those satellites are generally geostationary, I mean. So they're in the one spot on the Earth. And so go along with the rotation of the Earth. So they just stay in that one spot. And what it enables you to do is, even if you have no cell towers, you could still make phone calls because it's going directly into the satellite, and then the satellite is beaming it down to where it needs to go. So, you could use satellite phones in a lot more places than you would your regular phone.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with satellite phones, are they expensive?
They are quite expensive, yeah. And, they won't let you play Candy Crush, so...
No. Because
it's not really for the regular people.
No, if you watch that show, Outback Truckers, they're driving in the middle of the outback of Australia, right?
Yeah.
You'd be lucky if you can get at least one bar of Telstra in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Now,
but I think they would have the truckers' radio and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a satellite phone, you'd have to.
Yeah, you'd need that.
But I googled a satellite phone. They're like nearly $1,000.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive technology
to make phone calls as well.
I beg your pardon?
And they're expensive to make phone calls on them.
Absolutely.
Far out.
I mean, you got to think about it. That infrastructure has to be in space.
Yeah.
So it's going to be extremely expensive. So they're not really recommended for general use. They're only for if you're going out, say into the outback, really remote location, and getting help might be, say, really impossible otherwise, then you need a satellite phone.
But see, the police, if they contact you, they ring you on a satellite phone, and it's always a private number.
I don't think it's a satellite phone if they're calling you. Let's say if the NSW police is calling you for any reason. I don't think it's coming through a satellite phone. Mm-hmm. It would be from like an encrypted phone, but I don't think, or they might even use private servers or whatever, private connection points, but I don't think it would be a satellite phone, because it would be unnecessary in that point. It's like, if I need to go from, if I need to walk 100 meters, I wouldn't get into a Ferrari. I'd just walk it.
I've seen them when they patrol, they carry a satellite phone.
I think those are just bulky phones. I don't think they would be satellite phones.
Oh, they look like.
Possible. I'm just guessing here, but
you see, in the Rural Fire Service, we use radios. There's a GRM where all the media, the whole place can hear it, and then you got your fire ground where it's only a certain range you can get a frequency in the sound. Yeah. And so we're taught on the radio to not chat as much as possible, especially on GRM ones, because everyone can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's how the media get recordings from last year's fire season out of those radios.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the ambulance, ambos carry them, fire and rescue, even the police as well.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
But I tell you something interesting. Even if you have no bars on your phone, and you need to, say, call the cops or something, or ambulance or whatever, your phone is capable to make those calls. So it can generate signals.
Shit.
Again, I've never really used it, so don't know much about it. I've read somewhere that the phones are capable of dialing emergency numbers. You can't really call your mates, but you can dial emergency numbers, and there is still a chance that you'll be able to reach them.
It'd just be very bad line.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you made the call and you informed them of where you are, it's better.
Now, also too, Apple in their new iOS update put exposure notifications for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And you can turn that on. Now, how does that work? Because I don't know. I don't have an idea how that you're going to get an exposure notification if someone was positive.
Well, I don't think Apple really deals with that themselves. The way that would work is they'd be getting the data from a whole bunch of credited sources like the government, hospitals, or WHO, amongst other things. And then they would get that aggregated data and they'd just be showing it to you. They wouldn't be collecting the data themselves.
Yeah.
And since, you've opted in for that service and they're tracking where you've been, they can tell you that you've been into like a COVID exposed area. And so therefore they tell you to go and get yourself treated. Which, you know what, I think Android also does this. And it's one of the godsends of technology. It is such a useful thing that this exists, because a lot of deaths could, I'm sure, have been prevented because of early testing. So it's fantastic sort of piece of application.
I find it a bit weird because the government was trying to get people to download the COVID Safe app and the coronavirus app, but I don't feel
funny though, isn't it?
I don't feel comfortable of the government knowing where my location is.
Yeah, wait, isn't it funny? I'll tell you though, because so you've got, say, Google Maps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Google Maps tracks you even when you're not sort of, using the application. Now, I'll tell you. Okay, so Google tracks you. Now WhatsApp is actually is not going to be an end-to-end. I guess I'm not sure if it's still end-to-end encrypted, but now WhatsApp is going to start officially selling its data to Facebook, or sharing its data, not selling. And then Facebook will then do targeted advertising through WhatsApp to you.
Oh God!
Yep.
Because I have to use WhatsApp for international interviews. That's how I can use it.
I'd probably say find another medium.
Yeah.
I don't use WhatsApp myself because ever since Facebook bought it, I was like, I love Facebook as a company, but I don't need my chats fumbled through. So I use a more secure platforms. I've actually built my own application for chatting. So with all my friends and stuff, I use that app and goes through my servers. I'm not necessarily saying that mine is the most encrypted stuff out there, but if it's my personal thing and who's really that interested in my life to really try and, snoop around in it, it at least protects the conversations I have with my friends and my family members, from no one, from being known to other people. Well, and it is end-to-end encrypted, so that's still the same thing as WhatsApp.
Now, because I use WhatsApp on my website in case I've got customers internationally who want to contact me.
Yeah.
I like WhatsApp.
You can't avoid it. Yeah.
I use it to do interviews on the podcast, but you can actually back up your chats to it, and you can even delete your chat on WhatsApp as well if you don't want to have your data there. Now, I thought I'd mention about that, and you've got applications on your phone called Find My iPhone, but you need to have your location turned on for that.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
It's
a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's do you want your phone or do you want to give them your location?
And
what's more important to you?
For the rural fire service, we have an app that's how we get a pager, but you have to have your phone location turned on to see where we're going. It makes it very difficult.
And that sort of brings me to my original point. It's funny that that people are like so paranoid when it comes to sharing their location with their own governments. And, and then they're sort of willing to do it for some very minor benefits to private companies and other people. And it's sort of funny to me. It's like, you ask someone, oh, are you willing to share your information with the government? They're like, oh, no, I don't want the government tracking me. But then they're like, do you use Google Maps? Yeah. Do you go on websites? Yeah. And Google, even if you turn your location off, they still know where you are. Google, Facebook, everybody. And the way they do that is if you take your phone and you say, come to my house, and then you go on Facebook, or forget Facebook, if you go on a third-party website, but that has Facebook code on it, they will track you. They know where you, maybe they don't know exactly where you are, but they know the general area where you are. Because the IP address on your phone will let them know.
Even if you have your location turned off?
Yeah, even if because your IP address is going to be based on where you're connecting to the internet from.
See,
that is a fixed location.
I've started using a virtual private network.
That would hide you.
Yeah.
That would hide you. But, so we're actually in the process of building a product called the Finance app. We're still working on a name.
Yeah.
And what it's supposed to do is a smart accountant, basically. It's going to keep track of your money and everything else, and it's going to have a unique AI where it's going to track your spendings and earnings, and going to then be able to make a graph for you. If you wanted to buy something, you can just ask the computer and go, do you think I can afford this? And then based on your previous spending and earning records, it will say, yeah, you can afford it, but then your budgets for the next coming, weeks or whatever are going to be, impacted in a certain way.
Yeah.
And the whole AI kind of works, in a manner that is so different from everything else that, not even we can access your data or interpret it. So it's designed in a way that it's never going to be human readable. Or it's never going to make sense to anyone but the AI.
Very great show with you today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was really good talking to you.
Where can people find IBAC and where can people find you on social media?
So IBAC can be found on ibacoder.com.
Yep.
And if you want to look up social medias, just type up, at ibacoder, and you will find it, on Google searches and stuff. And yeah, me personally, reach out to me on Punit Upadhyay's Facebook. I guess that's pretty much the only place I'm active.
Beautiful. Thank you for listening to today's podcast with Punit. Also, too, you can get a free trial of Grammarly Premium. All you need to do is click on the link below. And thank you to Amazon Music Unlimited. Get your free 3-month free trial. All you got to do is click on the link to my website. I'll put the links in the description. Subscribe to my podcast. Turn on your notifications as well to get notified of new episodes. Also, too, if you'd like, you can send a donation to my GoFundMe page. This helps keep the podcast going, to upgrade any new equipment. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and also comment on the videos. Comments are very appreciated. I'm always open to any feedback that you have. Check out the latest single called Apocalypse on Spotify as well. So follow my Spotify channel. All the links are in the description. See you in the next episode.
Whether you're having a not moving off the couch while you watch the game kind of day, or a no time between conference calls kind of day, it can still be a delicious Dunkin' kind of day. And with Dunkin' now available on DoorDash, it's easier than ever to get your faves brought right to your door. So if you're looking for coffees, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, craving some afternoon snack and bacon, or in need of Dunkin' refreshers for a PM pick-me-up, we've got you covered. Order now and get your faves brought to your door through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'. Whether you're having a not moving off the couch while you watch the game kind of day, or a no time between conference calls kind of day, it can still be a delicious Dunkin' kind of day. And with Dunkin' now available on DoorDash, it's easier than ever to get your faves brought right to your door. So if you're looking for coffees, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, craving some afternoon snack and bacon, or in need of Dunkin' refreshers for a PM pick-me-up, we've got you covered. Order now and get your faves brought to your door through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'.